Hi, I'm Deborah, and today, with my coffee, grab you a cup of coffee while we bring Swanee River Regional Library into your living room today for your enjoyment. And today, instead of just crocheting, I am going to teach you how to read a pattern, and you can make anything you want. So enjoy this half hour with me. Thank you. For today's class, I picked up a pattern that's free online and is done by Red Heart. They have hundreds and hundreds of patterns. I picked out one. This tells you how easy it is, easy to hard. It also tells you the size of needle you need, which is an eye, and I have an eye here. It also says that it wants you to use love yarn with metallic. This yarn has a metallic in it. It's actually a baby yarn, and you can see the difference in texture. It's just going to make your mat or runner across your table a little fancier. What I did first was I looked at the different stitches that are in this pattern, and I wrote them out here. If they have just a CH, it means to chain, which is the very first thing you're going to do. It says chain 43. So I will be chaining 43. You put your yarn around your needle, and you want to cross it over, grab your long one and pull it on through and knot it. That one does not count. So then I'm going to do 43. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yarn over, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. You see that I'm putting the yarn back behind it. 40, 41, 42, 43. So that is 43 chain. Then I'm going to go to row 1, and it says DC. DC means double crochet. And to do a double crochet, you're going to put the yarn around your needle back to front, and then it says to go in the 4th chain. This is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to skip the first 4 because that equals a double crochet. I'm going to put my yarn around, pull it through 2, yarn around, pull it through 2 more. And I'm going to double crochet all the way across, and I'll end up with 41 double crochets. So before I put it into this next hole, I'm going to put my yarn around, I'm going to put it through here, and I'm going to put my yarn around again, and I have 3 loops on my hook. I'm going to put it around again, pull off 2, do it again, pull off 2 more till I only have 1 left. And I'm going to do that all the way across. Yarn around, put it in, yarn around, pull it through. So I have 3, take off 2, take it off 2, and it makes a much larger double crochet. And I'm going to do that all the way across. I want to show you how to do these patterns, and I know it's going to take longer than a half hour, but I want you to get a hook and get you some yarn and work along with me and see if you can't make this runner. It's a table runner, and it's very simple. I did part of it so you can see what the pattern's going to look like when it's all done. It's got a fancy stitch, but it's very easy. But the very first row is nothing but double crochet all the way across. So I'm going to go ahead. I should have done a shorter one just for this, but I wanted to teach you how to read a pattern and do it. And on these patterns, if they have a special stitch that you're going to have to do, they put a special stitch, and they tell you how to do the special stitches that are inside of your pattern. and they explain how to do it. So I'm double crocheting all the way across. I'm sorry this takes so long, but got to follow a pattern so that you learn how to do it. And this is a nice, would be something very nice for Christmas. It would look nice with your candles and your poinsettias across it for Christmas. Would be really pretty. Make a good Christmas gift. I'm just doing my double crochet. Remember, to do a double crochet you have to do it around, and you can't bring it through all of 3 of them at once. You have to do it 2 different times, taking 2 stitches off at a time. Almost there. Because I'm going to do the first 4 or 5 rows, and I'm going to show you how I set it up for doing the rest of them. You want to get clear to the end. Okay, we have, this is the very last one, I think. Yep, that's the last one. So then I've come to the end, and there should be 41 there. Then row 2, it tells me to chain 1 and to work in the front loops only. Now if you turn it around and you look, there's 2 loops. There's 1 loop and there's a second loop. Yeah, every stitch has 2 loops, and it wants you to go right in the front one. So I want to skip the one and I want to slip stitch. So I'm not going to add to it. I'm just pulling the yarn through. So I'm going only in the front loop, putting that yarn around and pulling it through both without working the stitch. And what it's doing is it's just getting the yarn to the other side. You can see it right here, how I've done it on this colored. It's a little more visible, and that's because I only went in the front stitch, and it's leaving that line across there. You won't be able to see it as much on the white. So I'm just pulling it on through there, front loop, pull it on through, all the way across to the other side. Because this is actually the back side of the work, and it wants you to do a fancy stitch on the other side. So we're just moving it across. Yarn over, pull it all the way through. And that's the slip stitch. I have it right here as a slip stitch. It means you don't really work it, you just pull the yarn through. Now you've learned 3 stitches. You've learned the chain, you've learned the double crochet, and now you have done the slip stitch. And one of the most important things to do when you're crocheting is to make sure that you go all the way to the end. If not, you will not have straight edges along the sides, and it's really easy to miss that very last one. I've got one right here, and I've got one right here, and you have to make sure you go all the way across. Okay, so that was row 2. Now we're going to go to row 3, and it's my fancy one, and if it's got parentheses around it, it means all of that goes into one stitch. Goes into one stitch. You don't want to, so I'm going to chain 1, and then it says I'm going to single crochet, which is a SC, is single crochet. I'm going to chain 4 and 2 double crochet cluster. The 2 double crochet cluster is described up here, and I'm going to show you how to do that, and I do that all in the very first stitch. This is my very first stitch right next to there, so I'm going to single crochet, put my yarn over once, pull it through, and finish that one. Then I'm going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm going to do a 2 double crochet cluster. I'm going to put my yarn around. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to take off, put my yarn around again, take off my first 2 and leave it on my needle so that I can put my yarn around again, put it in that same stitch, pull my yarn through, take off the first 2, and then see I've got 2 partially made double crochets. Now I'm going to take off all 3 of them, and then I have my fancy stitch there, and you can see it right here where it goes sideways. You can see that it goes, that's one of my clusters right there. Single crochet, chain 4, 2 double crochet clusters. So I have my very first one done, and then it says skip the next 2 slip stitches. I need to skip 2, 1, 2, then I'm going to go in this one. I'm going to put my yarn over, do a single crochet, chain 4, and then 2 double crochet cluster in that very same stitch. I only take off one group of it, put my yarn around again, go back in that same hole, take off 2. Now I have 3 on my needle, and I want those to come off. Now there's my chain 4s, and that's what I'm going to work in the next row. So let's do that all the way across. I'm going to skip 1, 2. Hopefully you have your needle and yarn and you're doing it along with me. Go into the next one. I want a single crochet. I want a chain 4, 2, 3, 4. I want a double crochet cluster. So I'm going to go in there and pull up till I have 3. Take 2 of those off, put my yarn around, go back in. I now have 4, take off 2, now take off all 3. Skip 1, 2, go in the next one, single crochet, chain 4, double crochet cluster, and make sure you go all in the very same stitch. Another double crochet. I now have 3. Take those 3 off. And there you can see how the pattern is taking shape. I'm going to go ahead and do row 4 and 5 for you. And this yellow sheet right here is because when you do row 5, 6 through 117 is repeating 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what I do is I just put a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5, and as I do row, see I've done row 1, I've done row 2, I've now done row 3, and I keep track that way. That way, if I put it down, I know exactly what row that I should be doing next. So there's 1, 2, get my single crochet in there. Next comes my 1, 2, 3, 4 chain, my cluster. Take off only 2 of them, put it back in. Now I have 3. I'm going to skip 1, 2. See, I don't have the yarn wrapped around my needle at all for a single crochet. That only is if you're doing a double crochet. I want both loops though, if it's going to come. Well, I'm going to do my single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4. My cluster. Take it off, skip 2, and I just do the same thing all the way across. I'm going to go ahead and get it fast to the other side so I can go to the next row. My cluster. Once you get it in your head of what comes next, you don't even have to look at it anymore because you know what's coming. Chain 4. My cluster, okay, chain 4, my cluster, David will know how to do this by the end. I think he has it memorized too. I don't know if he crochets though. If it's really uncomfortable for you to start out and just can't get that tension right, I've done it for a very long time and it just comes with practice. You can I've made a tablecloth for each of my girls when they get married out of the crochet cotton. It's more like a thread. So once you learn how to read patterns, you can make almost anything. I'm going to chain 4. But sometimes not knowing what the abbreviations means makes it hard. I'm almost to the end here. I'm going to get both those loops. And then we're going to see what it says to do when it comes to the end. That piece of yarn at the end is giving me fits. Should be one more here. 1, 2, 3, 4. My cluster. Okay, so it says to do it clear to the end of the row. And then at the very end, it says in the last stitch, single crochet in the very last stitch. And this is my last stitch right here, and I just want to do a single crochet. So we are done with 3. We're going to go down here to 4, and it says that you'll have 14 of this cluster here. You're going to go down to 4, chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, and single crochet. Chain 3 and single crochet in each of the 4 of the chain 4 spaces, and that's going to be your easy row. Here's all my chain 4 spaces. I'm going to chain 3, single crochet. That made my end so that it's a straight up. You can see that it made it come straight up that side. So chain 3, the chain 3 is always the first part. 1, 2, 3. just skip over here to the chain and single crochet. That's going to straighten my row all the way across so it's straight and I can work on a straight row. 1, 2, 3, single crochet. And that's probably one of the easiest rows that you'll have in this pattern. But then we can mark off another row. Single crochet. 1, 2, 3, single crochet. Once you see that it's the same thing over and over, it'll make it easier for you to try something new. Yarn over, 1, 2, 3. I know I'm going a little fast on some of it. 1, 2, 3. So all the way across, just chain 3 and single crochet, chain 3 and single crochet, chain 3, and because it has the chain 3, because it has chain 3 first, and the very last thing I'll be doing is that single crochet, which is what I just did there, and then it says do it across there, and you'll have 14 chain 3 spaces. So we can now mark off row 4. So I automatically know I'm on row 5. Row 5 is, there's your CH, that means chain 3. And when it has it at the end of a row like that, that is equal, chain 3 is equal to 1 double crochet. So that's why, because you can't do a double crochet at the end of a row. So 1, 2, 3, that is going to equal a double crochet. Then it says 2 double crochet in first chain 3 space. Well, we know this is my chain 3, so yarn over. I'm going to do 2 double crochets. There's 1, there's 2, and it's going to be in every one of those gaps, and then double crochet in my single crochet. There's my single crochet. And I'm going to do a double crochet there, and what it's doing is it's getting back to just like the first row. This is going to be a solid double crochet across it, so I can start doing this pattern all over again. You can see it right here. Here's my double crochet, here's my slip stitch, here's my single crochet, my cluster, and my chain 4. Here's where I'm at right now. This row right here is what I'm doing right now, is bringing it back to a solid double crochet. So it's double crochet twice in my gap in that chain 3 space. Now I'm going to double crochet right here in the single crochet, and I'm just going to do that all the way across, nothing but double crochet. Double crochet, there's 1, there's 2, and 1 in my single crochet. And I'll show it to you. This will be against a wooden table. You'll be able to see the pattern when I get all the way across. There's 2 in that space, 1 at the top of my single crochet, 2 in this chain 3 space, and it's going to just go all the way across. There's my chain 3 space, it's a lot more fun if you can do patterns, and you can make baby outfits, you can make hats, you can make bedspreads, you can make flowers, you can make almost anything you want, shawls, doilies, all of that is crocheted. There's your single crochet and your gap. Okay. I can tell you or help you in any stitch. If you bring it in and are caught on something, I can help you figure it out. So don't be afraid to try something new. There's free patterns even at the yarn stores in Lake City. They give free patterns. But I'm telling you, online, every type of yarn has all kinds of free patterns that you can get. Okay, so that's, and then we have one here at the very end, and let's see what it tells us to do here. Double crochet in the first chain 3, double crochet in the single 2, repeat from, and this star, when it says to repeat from the star, that means you go right, you don't go clear to the top, you go right here to this star, you double crochet in the single crochet 2 in the chain 3 space, repeat from the star. So if you underline it, you'll know right where to start, and it wants you to go all the way across, double crochet in the top of the beginning chain. Remember, we chained at the very beginning and it was equal to a double crochet. So I want to go right in there into that chain and finish up that row. So I'm going to move this aside. First we're going to mark that we did row 5. I'm going to move that aside so you can see exactly what we've done. And you can see the pattern very well. And you just repeat the same thing over and over. Now that I've done row 5, I'm going to go back to row 2, and it's going to start with going in the front loop. And you just do it all over until you get the length that you want. So I hope you try it. Grab you a needle, grab you a cup of coffee or tea, and try something new. Thank you for being here for this half hour. We finished our coffee. We finished learning how to read a pattern. You can go online and pick out any pattern you want off of Red Heart yarn. And if you have any questions, just call me and we will work it out together. If you liked this video, we hope you come back. Thank you for being here.